Hello, and welcome to another gentle journey on Sleepy Professor Stories. Tonight, you are invited into a quiet landscape that opens every evening without effort. The sleeping mind is not a machine to command, but a familiar place that knows its own way home. As the day fades, the brain slowly shifts, resting, wandering, and restoring itself in rhythms older than memory. This journey explores those natural movements with soft observation and simple images, allowing understanding to arrive gently or not at all. If these calm explorations bring you comfort, you may choose to like or subscribe, so this peaceful space can reach others as well. There is no need to decide now, and nothing is expected. The invitation is light, like a thought passing through. For the moment, there is truly nothing you need to do. Your breathing can slow on its own, each breath settling a little deeper. Your shoulders may soften, your jaw loosening, your eyes resting wherever they are most comfortable. Thoughts are free to drift, appearing and dissolving without attention. You do not need to follow every idea, and you do not need to remember anything that comes next. As you listen, imagine the mind gently dimming its lights, not turning off, but easing into a quieter glow. The world continues, and your body already understands how to rest within it. With each sentence, you are allowed to sink further into ease, carried by a steady, unhurried rhythm that asks nothing of you. Let's begin. As awareness softens and the edges of the day fade, the mind begins its natural descent into rest, preparing quietly for the first moments of sleep to arrive. As night settles in, you may begin to notice how the sharp edges of the day slowly soften. The mind, which spent hours focusing, deciding, and responding, starts to loosen its grip. Thoughts that once felt urgent begin to drift farther apart, like objects seen through a gentle mist. This change is not something you create. It happens naturally, guided by quiet shifts inside the brain that signal it is safe to rest. Throughout the day, your mind has been sorting, prioritizing, and holding information close. Neural activity stays alert, tuned to tasks and responsibilities. As evening arrives, that pattern begins to change. Chemical messengers in the brain gradually rebalance, reducing signals linked to attention and action. In their place, calmer rhythms begin to rise. This is the mind's way of saying that effort is no longer required. You might notice memories from the day appearing briefly, then fading. Conversations replay without detail. Images pass without emotion. This is a normal part of the transition into sleep. The brain gently reviews recent experiences, not to judge them, but to decide which ones are worth keeping close. The rest are allowed to blur, their edges smoothing until they no longer demand attention. There is nothing you need to do during this process. The mind knows how to release what it no longer needs. Even if a thought lingers for a moment, it will soften on its own. You do not have to push it away. Simply letting it be is enough. With each breath, the weight of the day becomes lighter. As priorities fade, the sense of time begins to change. Hours feel less structured. The future loosens its pull. The past no longer asks to be examined. This shift happens because the brain reduces activity in regions responsible for planning and self-evaluation. Without those signals, the mind naturally moves toward a quieter, more open state. Your body follows this change closely. Muscles that held tension throughout the day begin to relax. The jaw releases. The shoulders sink gently downward. This physical softening sends feedback to the brain, reinforcing the message that it is safe to let go. Body and mind work together, each easing the other into rest. You may notice your breathing becoming slower without effort. Each inhale feels less deliberate. Each exhale lasts a little longer. This rhythm supports the calming of the nervous system, reducing signals of alertness. The heart rate follows, settling into a steady, unhurried pace that supports sleep. Thoughts now come and go without forming clear stories. One image dissolves into another. The mind becomes less interested in meaning and more comfortable with sensation. This drifting quality reflects a shift toward brain patterns associated with early sleep. Awareness remains, but it no longer feels anchored to a single point. Sometimes, a concern may surface unexpectedly. This does not mean the process has stopped. It is simply part of the mind's gradual release. When this happens, the brain is briefly checking whether the thought still needs attention. When no action follows, the thought gently fades again. There is no failure here, only a natural rhythm. You are allowed to rest in this uncertainty. Sleep does not require clarity. It welcomes softness. The mind does not need answers tonight. It only needs permission to stop searching. And that permission is already present in the quiet of this moment. As the edges of the day dissolve, the sense of self becomes less defined. Roles, labels, and expectations lose their shape. You are no longer someone doing something. You are simply here, breathing, listening, existing without effort. This state is deeply familiar to the brain, even if it feels subtle. Neuroscience shows that as wakefulness fades, communication between certain brain regions becomes less synchronized. This allows thoughts to drift freely, without strict control. The mind begins to move in gentle waves rather than sharp lines. This is why ideas may feel softer, less complete, and less important. You might feel as though you are floating slightly above your thoughts, watching them pass without needing to engage. This distance is a sign that the mind is stepping back from active control. It is preparing for deeper rest, where awareness becomes even lighter. There is nothing you need to remember from today. Memory consolidation happens quietly during sleep, without conscious effort. The brain will keep what matters and release what does not. You do not have to decide which is which. That work is already underway. As sounds around you fade into the background, the mind becomes less responsive to the environment. The brain filters incoming information more selectively, allowing only gentle sensations to pass through. This creates a sense of separation between you and the world, not as isolation, but as comfort. The feeling of letting go may come in waves. At times you may feel very relaxed, then briefly more alert. This fluctuation is normal. Sleep is not a straight line, but a gradual descent. Each wave carries you a little deeper than the last. Your thoughts now feel slower, as if moving through warm water. Words lose their sharpness. Images appear softer around the edges. This is the mind transitioning from analytical processing to a more associative mode. Creativity increases, logic fades, and rest draws closer. You do not need to follow this process. It unfolds whether you notice it or not. Even if attention drifts or returns, the underlying shift continues. The brain is patient. It does not rush, it knows the way. As the day's edges dissolve completely, you may feel a gentle sense of relief. Nothing is expected of you now. There are no tasks waiting, no decisions to make. The present moment stretches wide and quiet, offering space to rest. This softening prepares the mind for deeper stages of sleep, where awareness becomes more distant and restorative processes increase. The letting go you experience now is not an ending, but a doorway. Beyond it lies a deeper calm, where the mind can wander freely without effort. For now, you can simply remain here, in this gentle in-between space, as the mind continues to release what it has been holding, one softened edge at a time. As the mind grows quieter and the weight of the day slips fully away, a deeper calm begins to form, inviting awareness to drift even further from waking thought and closer to the gentle rhythms of sleep. As you remain here, gently settled, the brain begins a quiet shift that feels less like stopping and more like easing into a different rhythm. Nothing suddenly changes. Instead, awareness softens in layers, like light slowly dimming in a familiar room. You are still present, still breathing, still aware, yet something inside is beginning to let go of sharp focus. During waking hours, the brain stays active in patterns designed for attention, decision, and response. Signals move quickly, connecting thoughts, memories, and sensations into a steady stream of awareness. As rest approaches, these patterns begin to change. Electrical activity slows slightly, and communication between certain areas becomes less rigid. The brain is not powering down. It is reorganizing itself for a different kind of work. You may notice that your thoughts no longer arrive in neat lines. One idea drifts in, then dissolves before it fully forms. Another follows without explanation. This gentle wandering reflects a natural shift in brain networks, as regions responsible for focus and control begin to loosen their hold. The mind becomes less interested in directing experience and more open to letting it unfold. There is nothing you need to guide here. These changes happen whether you pay attention to them or not. Even if you feel awake, even if a thought briefly feels clear, the underlying movement continues. The brain knows how to transition. It has practiced this journey every night of your life. As activity in attention-focused areas decreases, other rhythms begin to rise. Slower, more synchronized patterns spread gently through the brain. These rhythms feel soothing because they reduce the sense of urgency. They signal safety, rest, and restoration. You might experience this as a subtle heaviness behind the eyes or a softening of mental effort. Your senses respond as well. Sounds become less sharp, more distant. The brain begins to filter sensory information more selectively, allowing only what feels important or gentle to pass through. Background noises blend together, losing their individual meaning. This filtering helps create a sense of separation between you and the outer world, making it easier to rest. Breathing continues to slow, guided by signals from the nervous system that favor calm. Each breath feels less intentional. The pauses between breaths may lengthen slightly. This shift supports the brain's movement toward rest by reducing signals associated with alertness. Heart rate follows, settling into a steady, relaxed pattern. Inside the brain, chemical balances change quietly. Substances associated with wakefulness decrease, while those that support sleep become more prominent. This process is gradual and smooth, like blending colors rather than switching lights. The mind does not notice each step, but the overall effect feels like drifting. You might sense moments where awareness fades briefly, then returns. These small dips are signs that the brain is testing deeper levels of rest. There is no need to hold on to wakefulness during these moments. Even if you notice them, they pass naturally, carrying you a little further along the path towards sleep. As the brain's rhythms slow, the sense of self begins to feel less defined. The constant internal commentary quiets. You may feel less concerned with who you are or what you are doing. This happens because networks involved in self-referential thinking reduce their activity. Without those signals, the mind feels more open, less centered on identity. Thoughts now resemble gentle impressions rather than complete ideas. Images may appear without context. Words may surface without meaning. This is the mind transitioning into a state where logic is no longer the primary guide. Instead, experience becomes more fluid and less structured. There is nothing to correct or improve here. The brain welcomes this looseness. It allows deeper rest to follow. Even if a thought briefly sharpens, it soon softens again, like a ripple smoothing across water. Each return to calm happens more easily than the last. The body continues to support this shift. Muscles relax further, releasing small tensions you may not have noticed. The face softens. The tongue rests gently in the mouth. These physical changes send calming signals back to the brain, reinforcing the message that rest is safe and allowed. As the brain moves toward early sleep stages, awareness becomes less anchored to the present moment. Time feels less linear. Minutes stretch or shrink without concern. The mind no longer tracks duration. This change reduces mental effort and supports deeper relaxation. You may notice a feeling of warmth or heaviness spreading through the body. This sensation reflects changes in blood flow and muscle tone that accompany rest. It is a sign that the body is conserving energy, preparing for the deeper restoration that sleep provides. Even now, memory systems begin to shift. The brain reduces its intake of new information and turns inward, reviewing recent experiences quietly. This review is not conscious. You do not need to remember anything. The brain decides what to keep and what to release without asking for permission. As sensory input continues to fade, the boundary between inner and outer experience becomes less clear. Sounds may blend into thoughts. Thoughts may feel like sensations. This blending is a natural part of the brain's transition, signaling that awareness is moving away from active perception. There may be moments where you feel almost asleep, then gently aware again. This gentle oscillation is part of the process. Each cycle carries you a little deeper. There is no wrong pace. The brain adapts to what feels safe in this moment. Throughout this shift, the brain maintains essential functions without effort. Breathing, heartbeat, and internal balance continue smoothly. You do not need to monitor them. Trusting this automatic care allows the mind to rest more fully. As the lights continue to dim, the need to think begins to fade. Silence between thoughts grows longer. When a thought appears, it feels softer, less demanding. The mind becomes a quiet space where experiences pass through without leaving marks. This state prepares the brain for deeper stages of sleep, where awareness recedes further and restorative processes increase. The shift you feel now is gentle and intentional, shaped by biology and rhythm rather than force. You are not falling asleep by effort. Sleep is arriving on its own, guided by patterns older than thought. The brain continues its quiet work, easing awareness away from waking clarity and toward a softer, more distant state. For now, you can simply remain here, allowing the dimming to continue, trusting that each moment carries you closer to a deeper calm, where thinking fades and rest begins to take over. As the brain settles into this softer rhythm, awareness grows lighter and less defined, preparing gently for the next stage, where rest deepens and the mind begins to drift without direction or effort. As the night deepens, you may notice awareness beginning to loosen its hold, not all at once, but in gentle waves. Early sleep does not arrive as a single moment. It comes and goes softly, like a tide that reaches forward, then slips back again. You are still here, still listening, yet parts of your mind are already drifting somewhere quieter. In this first stage of sleep, the brain begins to spend longer moments in rest, then briefly returns to light awareness. This gentle back and forth is natural. It is the mind learning that it no longer needs to stay fully alert. Each small release makes the next one easier, creating a feeling of floating between worlds. Sounds around you begin to change their character. They do not disappear, but they move farther away. The brain reduces how strongly it responds to them, deciding that they are no longer important. A noise may arrive without pulling you toward it. Another may fade before you fully notice it. This soft distancing allows rest to deepen without effort. Your body mirrors this shift. Muscles grow heavier as if gravity has increased slightly. The arms and legs rest more fully against whatever supports them. Small adjustments stop happening. Stillness becomes comfortable rather than something to maintain. This physical quiet sends reassurance back to the brain, reinforcing the sense that it is safe to continue letting go. Thoughts now feel less complete. A sentence may begin without finishing. An image may appear and dissolve before it takes shape. This happens because brain regions responsible for sustained attention and clear reasoning are becoming less active. The mind is not confused. It is simply changing its priorities. There is nothing you need to do with these fragments. They are signs that the mind is moving naturally into early sleep. Trying to follow them would only sharpen awareness again. Letting them pass allows the gentle rhythm to continue. You may notice moments where you feel almost asleep, then slightly awake again. This can feel like drifting just below the surface of a calm lake, then floating back up. These brief returns are not interruptions. They are part of the process. Each time, the brain gathers information about how safe rest feels and adjusts accordingly. During this stage, the brain's electrical patterns slow further, becoming more synchronized. This creates a sense of calm and reduced mental effort. Awareness no longer needs to scan the environment constantly. Instead, it settles inward, resting lightly on sensation rather than thought. Breathing remains slow and steady. You may not notice it at all now. The body's automatic systems guide each breath without instruction. The heart continues its quiet rhythm, supporting this state of rest. Everything essential continues smoothly, even as conscious awareness fades in and out. As early sleep unfolds, the sense of time becomes even softer. Moments stretch without direction. You are no longer waiting for anything. The future feels distant, and the past has little weight. This happens because the brain reduces activity in networks that track time and anticipate events. Without those signals, the present moment expands gently. The boundary between inner and outer experience grows thinner. A sound might blend into a thought. A thought might feel like a sensation. This blending reflects the brain's reduced effort to categorize experiences. everything becomes part of a single, soft field of awareness. You may feel a subtle sense of drifting, as if the mind is no longer anchored firmly to the body. This does not mean you are leaving anything behind. It simply reflects reduced sensory input and relaxed muscle tone. The brain interprets this as floating, a common and harmless sensation during early sleep. If awareness briefly sharpens again, there is no need to respond. The brain is simply checking whether alertness is still required. When nothing demands action, awareness fades once more. Each return to rest happens more easily than the last. At this stage, memory formation for new information decreases. The brain is no longer focused on taking in details. This is why words may pass through without being remembered. You do not need to try to hold on to them. Forgetting now is a sign that sleep is deepening. Your sense of self continues to soften. Roles, worries, and personal narratives feel distant or irrelevant. The mind is no longer invested in defining who you are or what you should be doing. This release allows energy to shift toward restoration rather than reflection. Physiologically, the body begins to conserve more energy. Temperature regulation adjusts slightly. Blood flow shifts to support rest. These changes are subtle, rarely noticed, yet they contribute to the growing sense of heaviness and calm. The mind now moves more freely between awareness and rest. You might not remember brief moments of sleep that occur during this stage. That is because consciousness fades without marking the transition. Sleep does not announce itself. It simply happens. There is nothing you need to achieve here. Early sleep does not require surrender or focus. It arrives when the conditions are right, and those conditions are already forming. Your only role is to remain comfortable and allow the process to continue. As thoughts become quieter, spaces between them widen. Silence grows more noticeable. When something arises within that silence, it feels gentle and unimportant. The mind is learning that it can rest without missing anything essential. You may sense a gentle pull downward, not physical, but mental. This is the brain shifting toward deeper sleep stages, where awareness becomes even more distant. The pull is calm and unhurried, guided by natural rhythms rather than force. During early sleep, brief dreamlike images may appear. These are not full dreams, but soft impressions. They reflect the mind beginning to explore freely without structure. There is no story to follow, only movement and color and feeling. You do not need to interpret these impressions. They are simply signs that the brain is transitioning. Observing them too closely would bring wakefulness back. Letting them drift allows sleep to deepen. The world now feels farther away, as if behind a thin curtain. You are aware that it exists, but it no longer asks for attention. This distance is comforting. It allows the mind to rest without vigilance. As early sleep continues, awareness fades for longer stretches. When it returns, it feels softer and less defined. The brain is gradually letting go of the need to remain present. Rest becomes the default state. For now, you can remain in this gentle in-between, where nothing is required and nothing is missing, as awareness continues to slip quietly away, preparing the mind to drift into deeper, more sustained sleep. As this gentle disconnection grows more complete, awareness begins to settle even farther from waking thought, opening the way for a deeper, steadier rest to slowly take shape. As rest continues to deepen, you may notice that thoughts no longer follow the careful paths they used earlier. The mind begins to wander in a softer way, drifting without destination or purpose. This is not distraction. It is a natural release of control, guided by changes inside the brain that favor openness over direction. Thinking becomes lighter, less bound to logic, and more willing to move freely. During waking hours, the brain relies on networks that organize thoughts into sequences, keeping ideas connected and purposeful. As sleep approaches, activity in these organizing systems gently decreases. In their place, more fluid patterns emerge, allowing thoughts to appear without needing to make sense. This shift is quiet and gradual, like loosening a knot rather than cutting it. You might notice images forming briefly in your mind. A place, a color, a familiar face. They arrive without explanation and fade just as easily. The brain is no longer filtering ideas based on usefulness or accuracy. Instead, it allows associations to flow naturally, guided by memory and sensation rather than reason. There is nothing you need to follow here. Letting these thoughts drift is what allows rest to deepen. Trying to hold on to meaning would gently pull the mind back toward wakefulness. Allowing thoughts to pass without attention keeps awareness soft and unanchored. Logic loosens its grip during this stage because regions involved in analytical thinking reduce their activity. This does not mean the brain is inactive. It is simply focusing on a different kind of processing. Instead of evaluating and deciding, it explores connections quietly, without judgment. You may feel as though the mind is moving in slow circles, returning to similar images or ideas without concern for repetition. This looping quality reflects a brain that is no longer tracking progress. There is no goal now, only movement and rest. At times, a thought may feel almost complete, then dissolve before it finishes. This happens because attention is no longer sustained long enough to build a full narrative. The mind releases ideas before they become heavy. This lightness is a sign that sleep is approaching. You might also notice that emotions soften along with thoughts. Feelings lose their sharp edges. A memory that once carried weight now feels distant or neutral. This emotional quiet happens as the brain reduces activity in areas that amplify emotional response. Calm becomes the default. There is nothing you need to do with this calm. You do not need to deepen it or protect it. It exists on its own, supported by natural rhythms inside the body. Even if a brief emotional tone appears, it will soften quickly, like a sound fading into the distance. As thoughts wander, the sense of control continues to relax. You may feel less aware of directing your own thinking. Ideas seem to arrive and leave on their own. This loss of control is not a problem. It is a sign that the mind is preparing to rest more fully. In this state, the brain's default activity patterns become more prominent. These patterns support imagination, memory, and internal reflection. During the day, they are often interrupted by tasks and demands. At night, they are allowed to flow freely, creating a gentle stream of awareness. You may notice that time feels strange now. A single thought may seem to last a long while, or several may pass without any sense of duration. This happens because the brain's internal clock becomes less active. Without constant time tracking, experience stretches and softens. Breathing continues its slow, steady rhythm. Each breath supports this wandering state by keeping the nervous system calm. There is no need to adjust it. The body knows how to breathe for rest. As thoughts drift, The boundary between thinking and sensing becomes less clear. A thought may feel like a sensation. A sensation may trigger an image. This blending reflects reduced separation between brain systems that are usually kept distinct during wakefulness. Everything becomes part of a single, gentle flow. You might feel as though you are watching your thoughts from a distance, or not watching them at all. Sometimes awareness drifts alongside them. Other times, it fades completely. These shifts happen naturally. You do not need to stay present for them. If a thought briefly sharpens, becoming more defined, it will soften again on its own. The brain quickly returns to its resting patterns when no action is required. Each return to softness happens more easily than before. During this stage, the mind becomes more receptive to dreamlike thinking. Images may become more vivid, yet less meaningful. They do not ask to be understood. They simply appear, reflecting the brain's growing freedom from structure. You may sense a gentle pleasure in this wandering, a feeling of ease or comfort. This comes from reduced mental effort and lower stress signals. The brain is no longer working to maintain order. It is resting within its own rhythms. There is nothing you need to remember from this state. Memory systems are already shifting toward consolidation rather than recording. New information is less likely to be stored. Forgetting is expected and welcomed. As wandering continues, the mind becomes less attached to individual thoughts. Ideas lose their importance quickly. This detachment allows awareness to sink further, unburdened by meaning or purpose. You might notice a sensation of drifting or floating, as if the mind is no longer firmly connected to the body. This sensation reflects reduced sensory input and relaxed muscle tone. It is common and harmless, part of the natural transition into sleep. At times, thoughts may blend together, forming brief, illogical scenes. These are not full dreams yet, but early expressions of dreamlike processing. The brain is exploring freely without needing coherence. You do not need to observe these scenes. Letting them pass without attention allows the transition to continue smoothly. Observation brings wakefulness. Release invites rest. The world outside now feels distant. Sounds are muffled. Sensations are softer. The brain has turned down the volume on external input, prioritizing internal calm. This selective attention supports deeper relaxation. As control continues to relax, awareness may fade for brief moments. You may not notice these gaps. They are signs that the mind is slipping gently into early sleep. Each gap carries you closer to sustained rest. There is no correct way to experience this wandering. Some nights feel more vivid. Others feel blank. Both are normal. The brain adjusts based on comfort and safety, choosing the path that feels easiest. As thoughts move freely, silence grows between them. These quiet spaces become longer and more frequent. When a thought does appear, it feels softer and less complete. The mind is learning that it can rest without constant activity. You may feel a gentle pull downward, as if drifting deeper into a comfortable space. This is the brain transitioning toward more stable sleep patterns. The wandering of thoughts prepares the way by loosening control and reducing effort. For now, you can remain here, allowing thoughts to come and go without involvement, trusting that this gentle wandering is guiding the mind toward deeper rest, one soft moment at a time. As thoughts continue to loosen and drift without direction, the mind begins to settle into a quieter stillness, gently opening the door to deeper layers of rest. where wandering gives way to calm, unbroken sleep. As the night continues, calm settles more deeply within the brain, no longer drifting in and out, but staying for longer stretches of time. Awareness does not disappear suddenly. Instead, it becomes quieter, thinner, like a soft layer of mist spreading evenly across the mind. You are still here, yet the need to be aware of being here begins to fade. The brain now moves into slower patterns that favor rest over reaction. Signals travel with less urgency. Networks that once kept attention alert reduce their activity further, allowing a more unified rhythm to emerge. This rhythm feels steady and reassuring, as if the mind has found a pace that no longer requires effort. With this shift, the body settles more fully into stillness. Muscles that have already relaxed now release even deeper layers of tension. The spine rests into its natural curves. The hands and feet feel heavier, supported without needing to adjust. Stillness no longer feels intentional. It feels inevitable and comfortable. Breathing continues quietly in the background, smooth and unforced. The pauses between breaths may grow slightly longer, not because you are controlling them, but because the nervous system has shifted toward a deeply restful state. Each breath supports the slowing of the brain, and the slowing of the brain supports the ease of the breath. Inside the mind, thoughts become increasingly rare. When one does appear, it feels distant and incomplete, like a sound heard through a wall. The brain no longer invests energy in shaping ideas. Instead, it rests in broad, slow waves of activity that encourage restoration. This stage of sleep is marked by a sense of depth. Awareness feels farther away from the surface of experience. External sounds are either ignored or absorbed without meaning. The brain's filtering systems now prioritize rest, allowing only the most important signals to pass through. There is nothing you need to monitor. Even if a sound briefly reaches awareness, it does not pull you back. The brain evaluates it quickly and returns to rest. This automatic protection allows calm to remain uninterrupted. The body responds to this deeper calm by conserving energy. Heart rate remains slow and steady. Blood pressure gently lowers. The systems responsible for repair and maintenance become more active, working quietly without awareness. Healing does not announce itself. It simply happens. As brain activity slows further, as communication between distant regions becomes more synchronized. This creates a sense of internal unity, where different parts of the mind move together rather than competing for attention. The result is a feeling of completeness, even in silence. You may notice that the sense of self has softened almost entirely. There is little awareness of identity, role, or intention. You are no longer someone doing something. You are simply resting, supported by processes that require no participation. Time loses nearly all meaning here. Moments no longer pass in a noticeable way. The brain's internal clock quiets, removing the sense of progression. There is only a wide, steady present that stretches without boundary. If awareness briefly returns, it does so gently. There is no jolt, no urgency. The mind may surface for a moment, then sink again, guided by the same calm rhythm. These brief returns are normal and do not disturb the depth of rest forming beneath them. During this deeper stage, the brain reduces its response to new information almost entirely. Sensory input is muted. This allows internal processes to take priority. Memory systems continue organizing experiences from earlier, deciding what to keep and what to release without conscious review. The body remains deeply relaxed. Muscles stay loose and heavy. Small reflexive movements disappear. The position you are in feels stable, requiring no correction. Gravity feels gentle rather than insistent. This stillness supports the brain's slower rhythms, reinforcing the cycle of rest. Body and mind are no longer separate in their purpose. They move together toward restoration, each supporting the other. You may feel as though you are sinking slightly, not physically, but mentally. This sensation reflects reduced muscle tone and lower sensory awareness. The brain interprets this as floating or descending, a common experience during deeper sleep. There is no need to resist or encourage this feeling. It unfolds on its own. Allowing it to continue without attention helps maintain the calm. As thoughts become rare, silence becomes the dominant experience. This silence is not empty. It is full of slow activity, gentle coordination, and quiet repair. The brain is busy in a way that feels like rest. Emotional responses are now greatly reduced. Feelings that once carried intensity have softened into neutrality. The brain's emotional centers remain active enough to maintain balance, but not enough to create disturbance, as calm feels natural and unremarkable. The world outside feels very far away now. Even the idea of it fades. The mind has turned inward, prioritizing internal stability over external awareness. This inward focus allows deeper sleep to take hold. You do not need to stay aware for this to continue. Even if attention fades completely, the brain remains active in its own way, maintaining essential functions and supporting recovery. As deeper calm settles, the mind no longer wanders. There is little movement within awareness. Instead, there is a sense of stillness that feels complete, as if nothing is missing and nothing needs to change. This stage prepares the brain for sustained deep sleep, where awareness may disappear for extended periods. The calm you feel now is the foundation for that deeper rest. If a fragment of thought appears, it dissolves quickly. The brain does not follow it. It returns easily to stillness. Each return is smoother than the last. There is nothing you need to hold onto here. No image, no idea, no sensation is important enough to interrupt rest. The brain has decided that restoration is the priority and everything else can wait. As calm deepens further, the sense of boundaries dissolves. The distinction between body and mind becomes less clear. Sensations blend into quiet awareness. Awareness blends into rest. You may not notice when awareness fades completely. There is no marker, no moment of transition. Sleep simply deepens, unnoticed, like night growing darker without a clear edge. For now, you can remain here, supported by this deepening calm, as the brain continues to slow its pace, allowing stillness to become familiar, steady, and complete. As this calm settles more fully into place, awareness begins to loosen even further, preparing gently for the deeper, more sustained rest where the mind can remain quiet for longer stretches, drifting without return. As the night deepens further, rest settles into a quieter, steadier form. The mind no longer drifts or wanders as it once did. Instead, it becomes a calm background presence, allowing the body to turn its attention inward. This is the space where repair happens, not through effort or intention, but through gentle biological rhythm. While you rest, the body shifts its priorities. Systems that were busy responding to the world during the day now slow their outward focus and begin quiet maintenance. Muscles soften completely. no longer holding themselves ready. Even the smallest fibers release, allowing tension stored over hours to gently dissolve. Inside the brain, slower patterns remain steady, creating the conditions needed for restoration. These rhythms help coordinate signals that support balance and recovery. Communication continues, but it is measured and calm, focused on stability rather than response. Nothing feels urgent here. The immune system, now less distracted by external demands, becomes more attentive. Cells move carefully through the body, identifying what needs support and quietly addressing it. This process is constant, but during deep rest it becomes more efficient. You do not feel it happening, and you are not meant to. Hormones that support growth and repair are released in greater balance now. They move through the bloodstream without sensation, guiding renewal at the cellular level. Skin, bone, and tissue receive gentle signals to restore and maintain themselves. Healing does not announce itself. It works in silence. Your breathing remains slow and even, supporting this internal focus. Oxygen is delivered steadily, without rush. Each breath supports countless small processes happening beneath awareness. The body accepts what it needs and releases what it does not, all without instruction. The heart continues its quiet rhythm, unburdened by stress signals. Blood flows smoothly, delivering nutrients and removing waste with calm efficiency. This steady circulation supports repair throughout the body, especially in areas that worked hardest during the day. The nervous system remains settled, favoring signals that promote relaxation and recovery. Stress responses stay low. There is no need for alertness here. This state allows the body to devote its energy to healing rather than protection. Even digestion slows into a quieter mode. The body processes what remains from earlier meals, distributing nutrients where they are needed most. There is no discomfort, no urgency. Everything unfolds at a pace that matches rest. Within the brain itself, repair also takes place. Support cells clear away metabolic byproducts that accumulate during waking hours. This gentle cleaning helps maintain clarity and balance for the days ahead. It happens gradually, without awareness, guided by natural cycles. Memory systems continue their quiet work, strengthening useful connections and allowing others to fade. This process supports learning and emotional balance. You are not reviewing memories. The brain handles this alone, choosing what to keep without asking. The spine rests fully now, supported by stillness. Pressure eases. Discs rehydrate gently. This subtle renewal contributes to comfort upon waking, even though it is rarely noticed as it occurs. Throughout the body, inflammation levels remain low during this stage of rest. Calm signals help reduce unnecessary activation, supporting long-term health. The body favors balance over reaction, repair over response. There is no sensation of effort in any of this. Healing does not feel like work. It feels like nothing at all. That absence of sensation is part of what allows rest to be so deep. Awareness is not drawn toward what is happening inside. You may feel completely still, as if nothing is occurring. Yet beneath that stillness, countless processes continue in quiet coordination. The body knows this work well. It has practiced it every night. The mind remains lightly present, but detached. There is no commentary, no observation. This distance allows the brain to avoid interfering with repair. Conscious attention would only interrupt the flow. Even emotional balance is gently restored now. Without active thought, emotional systems recalibrate. The intensity of earlier feelings fades further. Calm becomes the baseline once more. If awareness briefly returns, it does so without urgency. There is no call to action, no signal to respond. The brain quickly recognizes that rest remains the priority and settles again. The body's temperature regulation adjusts subtly, conserving energy while maintaining comfort. These small shifts help sustain deep rest without drawing attention. Throughout this stage, the sense of self remains minimal. Identity, concern, and intention feel distant or absent. This absence is not loss, it is relief. Without the need to define yourself, rest deepens naturally. Nothing requires supervision. You are not responsible for this repair. Trusting the body's automatic care allows the process to continue uninterrupted. As time passes without being tracked, restoration continues in cycles, each one reinforcing the next. The body moves closer to balance with each moment of stillness. This is the quiet heart of sleep, where effort is unnecessary and healing is constant. The mind rests by stepping aside. The body restores by following rhythms shaped over countless nights. You do not need to remain aware for this to continue. Even if consciousness fades completely, the work goes on. Sleep supports itself. For now, you can remain here, held in this deep stillness. As the body continues its gentle repair, guided by calm signals and steady rhythms that require nothing from you. As this quiet restoration continues beneath awareness, the mind rests lightly above it, preparing for the next gentle shift, where sleep deepens further and the night carries you onward without interruption. At some point, without any clear signal or moment of arrival, dreams begin. They do not announce themselves. There is no doorway, no dividing line between rest and dreaming. One moment, the mind is quiet and still, and the next, it is gently moving again, exploring in a softer, freer way. You do not decide to dream. The mind simply begins. In this stage, the brain shifts its activity once more, allowing internal images and sensations to rise without direction. Areas involved in perception become active again, even though the senses are mostly closed off from the outside world. The mind starts to create its own experiences, drawing from memory, emotion, and imagination, all blended together. These early dreams are often faint. They may feel more like impressions than stories. A color, a shape, a sense of motion. They drift through awareness without asking to be noticed. This is the mind testing its freedom, exploring without structure or responsibility. You do not need to observe these images closely. In fact, noticing them too clearly can pull you back toward wakefulness. Let them remain soft, as if seen through half-closed eyes. The mind prefers this gentle distance as it settles into dreaming. Dreams arrive because the brain is no longer focused on maintaining a stable sense of the outside world. Sensory input is reduced, and attention networks are quiet. This creates space for internal activity to move forward without interruption. The mind turns inward, not with intention, but with ease. At this point, logic plays only a small role. The systems that usually evaluate consistency and sequence are less active. This allows dreams to flow without needing to make sense. Scenes can change suddenly. Time can stretch or collapse. None of this feels strange from within the dream because the part of the mind that questions is resting. Emotion, however, remains present in a gentle way. Feelings may appear without clear cause. A sense of comfort, curiosity, or calm may accompany the images. The brain's emotional centers remain active enough to color experience, but not enough to overwhelm it. Dreaming supports rest by allowing the brain to remain active without effort. While the body stays deeply relaxed, the mind continues light internal movement. This balance helps maintain sleep rather than disrupt it. Dreams are not distractions from rest. They are part of it. You may not remember these early dreams later. Memory systems are selective during sleep, and not every experience is stored. Forgetting is normal. The value of dreaming does not depend on recall. The process itself is what matters. As dreams continue, they may become slightly more vivid. Images gain texture. Movement feels smoother. Yet, even as detail increases, the sense of safety remains. The brain maintains low alertness, preventing sudden awakenings. Dreams unfold within a protected space. There is nothing you need to guide or control. The mind chooses its own direction. Even if a dream shifts suddenly, it does so without urgency. Each change feels natural, like drifting from one cloud to another. Physiologically, the body remains deeply at rest. Muscles stay relaxed. Breathing remains slow. The heart continues its steady rhythm. This contrast between mental activity and physical stillness is a hallmark of dreaming sleep. The body is protected from acting out the mind's movements. Inside the brain, communication between regions becomes more flexible. Areas that rarely interact during waking hours begin sharing information. This allows memories, sensations, and emotions to blend in new ways. Dreams reflect this openness, weaving experiences together without restriction. You might sense moments where awareness fades completely and then returns into a dream without transition. This seamless movement between rest and dreaming shows how closely connected these states are. There is no need to pass through wakefulness to enter a dream. Dreams often borrow fragments from recent experiences. A sound heard earlier, a place visited, a thought briefly considered. The brain revisits these elements as part of its ongoing memory work, yet they appear transformed, softened, and rearranged. This transformation helps reduce emotional weight attached to memories. By revisiting experiences in a dreamlike context, the brain can adjust how they are stored. Emotional responses become less intense, more balanced. This contributes to the sense of calm that follows a good night's sleep. You do not feel this adjustment happening. From within the dream, there is no sense of work. The mind experiences movement and imagery, while deeper processes continue quietly underneath. As dreams settle into a rhythm, the boundary between awareness and imagination remains thin. You are not fully aware that you are dreaming, and you do not need to be. The absence of self-observation allows the dream to continue without disruption. If awareness briefly sharpens, the dream may soften or change. This is not a problem. The brain adapts easily, guiding experience back toward rest. Dreams are flexible. They bend rather than break. Throughout this stage, the nervous system remains calm. Stress signals stay low. The body does not prepare for action. This keeps the dream space safe and non-threatening. The mind explores freely because there is no need to defend or respond. Dreams also help maintain the continuity of sleep. Rather than waking the mind completely, they provide a gentle form of engagement that keeps awareness from rising too sharply. In this way, dreaming supports rest by preventing abrupt transitions. You may sense that dreams have their own pace. They do not rush. Even when movement appears, it feels unhurried. This reflects the brain's slowed internal rhythms. Everything unfolds in time with sleep. As the night continues, dreaming may deepen further, becoming more immersive. For now, these early dreams remain light, like ripples across a still surface. They prepare the mind for longer stretches of deeper dreaming later. There is no need to remember, interpret, or follow these experiences. The mind does not require understanding to benefit from them. Letting them pass without attention allows the process to continue smoothly. The world outside remains distant. Sensory awareness stays muted. Even if a sound reaches the ears, the brain quickly evaluates it and returns to dreaming if no action is needed. This protection helps maintain continuity. You are safe within this drifting state. The body remains still. The mind moves gently. Nothing asks for effort. Nothing needs to be resolved. As dreams begin without announcement, they also fade without ceremony. One image dissolves, another appears, or awareness slips away entirely. Sleep holds all of it without distinction. For now, you can remain within this gentle flow, trusting that the mind knows how to explore and rest at the same time, guided by rhythms that require no instruction. As these quiet dreams continue to unfold and dissolve, the mind drifts deeper into sleep, preparing softly for longer, richer dream journeys that will carry awareness even farther from waking thought. As sleep deepens, dreams begin to change their texture. They are no longer faint impressions drifting at the edges of awareness. Instead, images grow a little fuller, emotions gain a quiet presence, and the mind starts to move through experiences that feel complete, even if they do not follow the rules of waking life. This is where dreaming becomes a gentle blending of feeling and imagery, held together by a kind of logic that does not need explanation. Within this state, the brain allows emotional centers to remain softly active, while regions responsible for strict reasoning stay mostly at rest. Because of this balance, dreams feel meaningful without being precise. You may sense that something matters without needing to know why. Meaning is felt rather than analyzed, and that feeling is enough. Time behaves differently here. Moments stretch, fold, or repeat without resistance. A single scene may seem to last a long while, or many experiences may pass without any sense of duration. This happens because the brain's time-tracking systems are quiet. Without constant reference to clocks or sequences, experience flows freely, unmeasured and unhurried. Images arise with ease. A place may appear fully formed, even if it blends details from many memories. Faces may feel familiar without being clearly identifiable. The mind does not search for accuracy. It gathers impressions and arranges them in ways that feel natural within the dream. Emotion moves through these images like a soft current. Feelings are present but rarely overwhelming. Joy, curiosity, calm, or mild concern may appear, then shift gently into something else. Because the brain's threat systems remain quiet, emotions tend to stay within a comfortable range, allowing dreams to unfold without urgency. You are not evaluating these experiences as they happen. The part of the mind that questions and judges is resting. Instead, you move through the dream as if acceptance is the default. Whatever appears feels appropriate in the moment, even if it would seem strange when awake. This gentle logic is one of the defining features of dreaming. Events connect not through cause and effect, but through association and feeling. One image leads to another because they share a mood, a memory, or a sensation. The brain follows emotional pathways rather than rational ones. Because of this, dreams often feel intuitive. You may understand something instantly without being told. A situation may feel resolved without explanation. This intuitive knowing reflects the brain's reliance on emotional and sensory processing rather than analytical thought. As the dream continues, awareness remains immersed. You are not standing outside the experience. You are within it, carried along without effort. This immersion helps maintain sleep by preventing awareness from rising toward wakefulness. The body remains deeply relaxed throughout. Muscles stay still. Breathing remains slow and steady. The brain actively prevents physical movement, ensuring that dream activity stays internal. This separation allows the mind to explore freely while the body rests safely. Inside the brain, networks involved in memory and emotion communicate more openly now. This allows past experiences to be revisited in altered forms. A memory may appear without its original context, softened and reshaped. This process helps adjust emotional responses, reducing intensity and supporting balance. You do not feel this adjustment happening. From within the dream, there is only experience. The deeper purpose unfolds quietly, without awareness or effort. Dreams in this stage may feel continuous, as if one scene flows smoothly into the next. Transitions happen without interruption. Locations may change instantly, yet the emotional thread remains intact. The mind accepts these shifts without question. There is a sense of safety here. Even when unfamiliar images appear, they rarely trigger alarm. The nervous system remains calm, favoring rest over reaction. This safety allows the dream to remain gentle, even when it explores new combinations of memory and imagination. You may notice that language plays a smaller role now. Words are less important than images and feelings. Conversations, if they occur, may feel incomplete or symbolic. Meaning is carried through tone and emotion rather than precise phrasing. This reduction in verbal processing reflects decreased activity in language centers of the brain. Without constant inner speech, the mind becomes quieter, more spacious. Experience unfolds without commentary. At times, awareness may fade slightly, then return within the dream. These shifts happen smoothly, without breaking continuity. The dream adjusts, reshaping itself to accommodate the change. Nothing is lost. If awareness sharpens briefly, the dream may soften or transform. This flexibility helps maintain sleep by preventing sudden awakenings. The brain adapts easily, choosing rest over clarity. Throughout this stage, the brain continues to regulate emotional tone carefully. Stress hormones remain low. Calming signals dominate. This balance supports both emotional recovery and the stability of sleep. You may feel as though the dream has its own momentum, carrying you forward without effort. This reflects the brain's internal rhythms guiding experience. You are not steering, you are being carried. Memory of these dreams may or may not remain after waking. Recall is unpredictable. Some dreams fade completely, others leave a vague impression. This variability is normal. The benefits of dreaming do not depend on remembering. As the night progresses, these blended dreams help prepare the mind for longer, deeper dream periods later. They act as a bridge between early, faint imagery and more immersive dreaming. Each stage builds gently upon the last. There is nothing you need to understand about what you experience here. Interpretation is not required. The mind does not seek explanation. It seeks balance, rest, and quiet integration. You remain safe within this flow. The body is still. The mind moves gently. External awareness stays distant. Nothing asks for action. As images and emotions continue to blend, experience becomes smoother, less fragmented. The dream feels like a single, unfolding movement rather than separate moments. This continuity supports deeper immersion. The sense of self remains minimal. You are not thinking about who you are. You are simply experiencing. This absence of self-reflection allows the dream to continue uninterrupted. If a brief gap in awareness appears, it passes unnoticed. Sleep holds everything together, smoothing transitions without marking them. For now, you can remain within this gentle stream, where images and emotions flow together naturally, guided by a quiet logic that asks nothing of you and carries you deeper into rest. As feeling and imagery continue to weave together without effort, the mind drifts toward even richer dream states, where emotion, memory, and imagination can move more freely, carrying awareness farther into the quiet depths of sleep. As sleep continues without effort, the mind turns quietly to its background work, gently sorting the experiences of the day. This happens without examination or intention. You are not reviewing memories, and you are not deciding what matters. Instead, the brain moves calmly through recent impressions, allowing them to settle into place while awareness rests elsewhere. During waking hours, the mind takes in far more information than it can immediately organize. Sounds, conversations, images, and emotions are gathered quickly, often without pause. Sleep creates the space needed for this information to be handled gently. The brain shifts its focus inward, working through what has been collected with patience rather than urgency. Some experiences are strengthened during this time. Connections between ideas that proved useful or meaningful are quietly reinforced. Others are allowed to fade, losing their sharpness as they blend into the background. This balance helps keep the mind clear, preventing overload while preserving what supports understanding and emotional stability. You do not feel this process unfolding. From within sleep, there is no sense of effort or inspection. Memories are not replayed as stories. Instead, fragments are adjusted quietly, like objects being placed into drawers in a darkened room. The brain knows where things belong, even without light. Emotion plays a gentle role here. Experiences that carried strong feeling during the day are softened as they are revisited. The emotional tone attached to a memory may become less intense, more balanced. This helps reduce lingering stress and supports a calmer state upon waking. As this sorting continues, the mind does not need your attention. Even if awareness briefly returns, the background work carries on uninterrupted. Memory processing is resilient, now designed to function without conscious involvement. Inside the brain, different regions communicate steadily during this stage of sleep. Areas responsible for memory storage exchange information with those that process emotion and context. This coordination allows experiences to be integrated rather than isolated, creating a more coherent inner landscape. The body remains deeply relaxed throughout. Breathing stays slow, muscles remain still. There is no signal that demands movement or response. This physical quiet supports the brain's internal focus, minimizing distractions. Some memories are stored more deeply, becoming easier to access later. Others are simplified, stripped of unnecessary detail. This streamlining allows the mind to work more efficiently during waking hours, freeing attention for new experiences. You are not asked to remember any of this. Forgetting is part of the process. Memories that fade are not lost without purpose. They make room for clarity and rest. The brain is selective in a way that supports balance, not completeness. As time passes unnoticed, the background sorting continues in gentle cycles. Each cycle builds upon the last, gradually shaping the mind's internal organization. There is no rush. Sleep provides ample time for this work. Dreaming may blend briefly with memory processing. An image from the day might appear in a dream, altered and softened. This is not rehearsal, but integration. The brain is exploring how experiences fit within existing patterns, adjusting them quietly. Emotional responses continue to ease during this stage. Even memories that carried tension are revisited in a calmer context. This helps prevent emotions from remaining heightened overnight, allowing the nervous system to reset. The sense of self remains distant. You are not thinking about who you were during the day or what you did. Identity rests alongside awareness. Without self-reflection, the brain can organize experiences without judgment. There is no sensation of progress or completion. Memory sorting does not feel like finishing a task. It feels like rest because it unfolds beneath awareness. The mind works best here by remaining unnoticed. If a fragment of thought briefly surfaces, it dissolves quickly. The brain does not linger on it. Attention slips away again, returning to deeper rest. Each return happens naturally. The world outside remains far away. Sounds are filtered or ignored entirely. This distance allows the brain to maintain its inward focus. Nothing external interrupts the quiet rhythm. Over time, the accumulation of these subtle adjustments supports learning, emotional balance, and clarity. You may notice the effects later, as ease of recall or a lighter emotional state, but not now. Now, there is only rest. The brain's ability to perform this work without awareness is one of its most practiced skills. It has refined this process across countless nights. Trusting it allows sleep to deepen further. As memories settle, mental space opens. There is less internal clutter, fewer unfinished impressions. This spaciousness supports deeper sleep stages where awareness may fade for long stretches. You do not need to supervise this space. It remains stable on its own. Even if awareness disappears completely, the work continues. The body remains supportive, maintaining a steady internal environment. Temperature, circulation, and breathing adjust subtly to sustain rest. These quiet adjustments help ensure that memory processing remains uninterrupted. As this background work continues, the mind feels increasingly light. There is less to hold, less to process consciously. This lightness supports deeper calm. There is no correct experience to have here. Some nights feel blank, others feel softly dreamlike. Both allow memory sorting to proceed. The brain adapts to what feels safest. Eventually, this stage blends seamlessly into deeper sleep. Memory processing continues alongside rest, without clear boundaries. The night moves forward without marking time. For now, you can remain here, supported by stillness, as memories settle gently into place, guided by rhythms that require no effort and no awareness. As experiences finish settling quietly in the background, the mind grows even lighter, preparing gently for the deeper sleep ahead, where awareness may drift farther away while rest continues undisturbed. As sleep settles more deeply, something familiar begins to loosen its hold. Time, which guided the day with precision and expectation, softens until it no longer feels solid. Minutes and hours lose their shape. The mind no longer measures passing moments. Instead, it rests in a wide, open space where duration feels irrelevant and experience unfolds without sequence. During waking life, the brain constantly tracks time. Internal rhythms align with schedules, light, sound, and movement. This timekeeping helps you plan, anticipate, and respond. As sleep deepens, those systems quiet. The brain no longer needs to predict what comes next. Without that pressure, awareness relaxes into a state where moments simply exist without direction. You may notice that it feels impossible to tell how long you have been resting. A brief awakening might feel like hours have passed, or a long stretch of sleep might feel like only a moment. This happens because the brain areas that estimate duration reduce their activity. Without constant reference points, experience stretches and compresses naturally. In this state, there is no past and no future in the usual sense. Memories do not line up behind you, and expectations do not pull you forward. The mind rests in a present that feels continuous and calm. This is not boredom or emptiness. It is freedom from counting. Breathing continues in its slow, steady rhythm, unconcerned with time. Each breath supports this timeless state by anchoring the body in sensation rather than sequence. There is no need to know how many breaths have passed. Each one arrives complete, then leaves. Dreaming further alters the sense of time. Scenes may unfold slowly or shift instantly. A long journey may occur in what feels like a single moment. The brain does not attempt to reconcile these differences. Without timekeeping systems active, experience follows emotional and sensory flow instead of duration. This flexibility supports rest. Without awareness of time passing, there is no impatience, no anticipation of waking. The mind is free to remain where it is. Sleep deepens more easily when there is no sense of waiting. The body mirrors this release. Muscles remain still, no longer preparing for action. Heartbeat continues evenly, without urgency. Internal systems operate on biological rhythms rather than clocks, responding to needs rather than schedules. As awareness drifts, brief awakenings may occur without marking time. You might open your eyes and feel as though nothing has passed, even though hours may have gone by. This lack of continuity reflects how thoroughly time perception has softened. There is nothing you need to track or remember. Sleep does not require awareness of duration. The mind benefits from stepping outside the clock, allowing restoration to proceed without interruption. Inside the brain, communication patterns remain slow and synchronized. Without rapid shifts or deadlines, signals flow smoothly. This supports the sense of timelessness, where experience feels steady and unbroken. Memory processing continues during this stage, but without reference to when events occurred. Experiences are integrated based on meaning and emotion rather than sequence. This allows memories to settle without the pressure of chronology. You may feel as though you are floating in a moment that has no edges. There is no beginning and no end. This sensation reflects reduced activity in regions that normally define boundaries in experience. The mind rests in openness. Even the concept of tomorrow feels distant. Plans and responsibilities no longer pull at attention. The brain temporarily releases future-oriented thinking, allowing rest to take priority. Without anticipation, calm deepens naturally. Dreams that arise here may seem timeless as well. A dream may feel as though it has always been happening, or as though it ends before it begins. The brain accepts these distortions without concern because logic and sequence are resting. This altered sense of time protects sleep by reducing arousal. When the mind is not counting minutes until morning, there is no reason to wake. Rest continues uninterrupted. You are not meant to experience this consciously. Often, the sense of timelessness is only noticed upon waking, when it becomes clear that hours have passed unnoticed. During sleep, there is simply experience without measurement. The nervous system remains calm throughout. Stress signals that depend on urgency and timing stay low. This supports physical repair and emotional balance, allowing the body to remain focused inward. If awareness briefly returns, it does so without orientation. You may not know what time it is, or how long you have been asleep. This disorientation is gentle and temporary, and it quickly fades as rest resumes. The mind's release from time is one of sleep's quiet gifts. It allows recovery to proceed without the constant awareness of passing moments. The brain and body work best here, unobserved and unmeasured. As the night continues, this timeless state becomes more stable. Awareness may disappear entirely for long stretches, leaving no memory of duration. Sleep holds everything together without marking time. There is nothing you need to do to maintain this state. Even effort to remain timeless would reintroduce the clock. Letting go allows the process to continue on its own. The world outside continues to move through time, but you are no longer participating in that movement. Inside sleep, there is only rest, unfolding at its own pace. This separation from time does not disconnect you from reality. It supports it. By resting outside the clock, the mind restores its ability to engage with time again, later, refreshed and balanced. For now, you remain in this wide, quiet space where moments do not accumulate. There is no pressure to wake, no sense of delay. Sleep continues, supported by the absence of counting. As awareness grows lighter, even the idea of time fades. The mind rests where duration has no meaning, allowing deeper sleep to carry you forward without reference or concern. As the sense of time continues to soften and dissolve, the sleeping mind drifts even farther from the clock, preparing gently for the next quiet shift, where rest deepens and the night flows on without measure. At some point during the night, an awareness may quietly return for a moment. Not fully, not sharply, but just enough to notice being here again. These brief awakenings are a natural part of sleep. They arrive softly and leave just as gently, often without leaving a clear memory behind. Nothing has gone wrong. The mind is simply moving through its normal rhythm. Sleep is not a single, unbroken state. It flows in cycles, rising and falling like slow waves. Between these waves, the brain sometimes surfaces slightly, checking the environment before drifting back down. This happens many times each night, even when you do not remember it. Most awakenings pass unnoticed, lasting only seconds. When awareness does return briefly, the brain is not fully alert. Attention systems remain quiet. Thoughts are slow if they appear at all. Often there is only a vague sense of being awake, followed by a gentle pull back toward rest. This is the mind confirming that it is safe to continue sleeping. You may notice a small shift in position, a deeper breath, or a swallow. These subtle movements help the body stay comfortable. They do not signal the end of sleep. they support it. Once comfort is restored, stillness returns naturally. During these moments, the brain quickly evaluates whether anything requires action. Sounds, light, or sensations are assessed without urgency. If nothing important is detected, awareness fades again. This process is efficient and automatic, designed to protect rest rather than interrupt it. There is nothing you need to do during a brief awakening. Trying to analyze it would only sharpen awareness. Letting it pass allows sleep to resume easily. The mind already knows the way back. Time perception remains soft here. A brief awakening may feel longer than it is because the brain has not fully re-engaged its timekeeping systems. Even a few seconds can feel noticeable. Trust that these moments are usually much shorter than they seem. Breathing continues smoothly, even if awareness flickers. The body remains calm. Heart rate stays steady. There is no sudden shift into alertness. This stability makes returning to sleep effortless. Sometimes a fragment of a dream lingers as you surface briefly. An image, a feeling, or a sense of motion may remain for a moment. These fragments fade quickly as awareness recedes. There is no need to hold on to them. Brief awakenings often occur between sleep cycles when the brain transitions from one stage to another. These transitions are natural points of light awareness. They allow the brain to reset gently before continuing deeper rest. The nervous system remains settled throughout. Stress signals stay low. This ensures that awakenings do not trigger full alertness. The body understands that the night is for rest. If awareness returns and thoughts begin to form, they tend to be simple and fleeting. There is rarely a clear narrative. The mind is not prepared for extended thinking. This makes it easier to drift back into sleep. You might notice the environment briefly, the darkness of the room, a distant sound, the feeling of blankets. These impressions are soft and unimportant. Once they are registered, they fade again. It is common to worry that waking during the night means sleep is broken. In reality, these moments are signs that sleep is progressing normally. The mind is flexible. I'm able to rise and fall without disturbance. The brain's ability to return to sleep quickly depends on reduced effort. Allowing awareness to remain passive supports this. There is no need to try to sleep. Sleep resumes when attention relaxes. If awareness lingers slightly longer, the mind still remains close to rest. Thoughts feel heavy, slow, and incomplete. This is not insomnia. It is the boundary between sleep states where clarity has not returned. The body continues its quiet repair during these moments. Brief awakenings do not interrupt restoration. Processes supporting healing and balance continue smoothly beneath awareness. Sometimes these awakenings occur without any conscious memory at all. You may only notice them later through a sense that the night passed in segments. This is normal and harmless. Returning to sleep happens naturally when attention is released. Even if awareness surfaces again briefly, each return becomes easier. The brain is already oriented toward rest. You do not need to change your breathing or posture. Small adjustments happen automatically. Comfort returns without planning. Stillness follows. As the night continues, brief awakenings often become less noticeable. Sleep deepens again. Awareness fades for longer stretches, held by the same calm rhythms as before. These gentle returns to sleep support the continuity of rest. They prevent the mind from becoming stuck in any one state. Movement between stages keeps sleep balanced and restorative. There is no correct way for these moments to feel. Some nights they are barely noticeable. Other nights they are clearer. Both patterns support healthy sleep. Trusting the body's rhythm helps ease concern. The mind does not need supervision. It navigates these transitions on its own, guided by long-established patterns. If you find yourself aware again now, you are already close to sleep. The distance between awareness and rest is small. Letting go allows it to close naturally. The world outside remains quiet and distant. Even if a sound is noticed, it does not demand response. The brain evaluates it calmly and returns inward. Each brief awakening is followed by a gentle descent. Awareness softens, thoughts dissolve, and the mind slips back into sleep without effort. For now, you can allow these moments to pass without concern, knowing that each gentle return brings you deeper into rest, supported by rhythms that remain steady and kind. As awareness fades once more after these quiet moments of return, sleep settles back in with ease, preparing the mind for longer, uninterrupted stretches of rest that will carry the night forward. As the night continues, sleep does not remain still. It moves in gentle cycles, repeating patterns that unfold without awareness or effort. You are not traveling anywhere, yet the mind and body pass through familiar rhythms, rising and settling again and again. These cycles guide the night forward quietly, like waves that know the shape of the shore without ever needing to see it. Each cycle begins softly, with lighter sleep that gradually deepens. Awareness fades, returns briefly, then fades again. This movement is not random. The brain follows a rhythm shaped by biology and time, one that has repeated across countless nights, and you do not need to follow it. The body remembers the way. As one cycle deepens, the brain slows into patterns that favor rest and repair. Muscles remain heavy and still. Breathing stays slow and even. The mind rests far from waking thought. Then, without announcement, the cycle begins to rise again, bringing lighter sleep and sometimes a brief dream before settling once more. These transitions happen smoothly. There are no sharp edges between stages. One state blends into the next, each preparing the way for what follows. The night progresses not in steps, but in flowing motion. You may not notice these cycles at all. Often they pass without leaving any memory behind. Even when awareness flickers briefly, it usually fades again before thought can form. This quiet continuity allows sleep to feel whole, even though it is constantly changing. Within each cycle, the balance between deep rest and dreaming shifts slightly. Earlier in the night, deeper sleep lasts longer. Later, dreaming becomes more prominent. This gradual change supports both physical restoration and mental balance, allowing different needs to be met as the night unfolds. The body responds naturally to these rhythms. Heart rate and breathing adjust subtly as each cycle deepens and lightens. Hormones supporting repair are released in patterns that align with deeper stages. None of this requires attention. The body coordinates it all automatically. The brain too adapts with each cycle. Networks responsible for memory, emotion, and perception take turns becoming more active or more quiet. This rotation prevents fatigue and supports integration. And no single system remains in control for long. You may sense the night moving forward without any sense of time passing. Hours slip by unnoticed as cycles repeat. This happens because awareness rarely stays present long enough to mark duration. Sleep carries you gently from one phase to the next. Even dreams follow this rhythm. They appear, deepen, fade, and return in different forms across cycles. Some are vivid, others faint. Some leave impressions, others vanish completely. All are part of the same repeating pattern. Between cycles, brief awakenings may occur, though most are forgotten. These moments allow the brain to reset before continuing. They do not interrupt rest. They support it, ensuring balance and comfort. There is nothing you need to do to maintain these cycles. They continue whether you are aware of them or not. Even effort to observe them would gently disrupt the flow. Letting go allows the rhythm to remain smooth. As the night progresses, each cycle builds upon the last. Restoration accumulates quietly. Muscles recover, systems rebalance. The mind grows lighter. The effects are subtle now, but they prepare the body and brain for waking later. The repetition of cycles provides stability. Even though sleep changes shape throughout the night, the underlying pattern remains consistent. This consistency helps the brain feel safe enough to let awareness fade deeply. You may feel as though you are sinking and rising within sleep, though without motion. This sensation reflects the natural ebb and flow of these cycles. There is no destination, only continuation. The nervous system remains calm throughout. Stress responses stay low. Each cycle reinforces this calm, making it easier to remain asleep as the night continues. As cycles repeat, the sense of self remains distant. Identity does not return fully between stages. Thoughts stay fragmented or absent. This allows sleep to remain unbroken by reflection or concern. The environment outside remains quiet and distant. Even if a sound occurs, the brain evaluates it quickly and returns to the rhythm of sleep. The cycles continue uninterrupted. These repeating patterns allow sleep to be both deep and flexible. Rather than remaining in one state all night, the brain moves gently between modes, meeting different needs without strain. You do not need to remember any of this. Sleep does not require understanding to function. The brain has refined these rhythms over a lifetime of nights. As the night advances, cycles continue to flow, one giving way to the next. Awareness fades for longer stretches, then returns briefly, then fades again. The pattern remains steady. Eventually, these cycles begin to lighten, preparing the body for waking. But for now, they continue in balance, carrying you through the heart of the night. You are supported by this repetition. Nothing needs to be adjusted or corrected. The night knows how to move forward on its own. As rest deepens and rises again, the cycles continue their quiet work, guiding sleep without effort, allowing the mind and body to remain held within a rhythm that feels both familiar and unseen. As these gentle cycles continue to repeat and overlap, the night carries you onward, preparing softly for the later hours when rest begins to lighten and the mind slowly turns toward morning. As the night moves into its later hours, sleep begins to change its tone once again. Nothing ends and nothing begins abruptly. Instead, rest slowly lightens, like darkness thinning before dawn, even while comfort remains deep and steady. You are still resting fully, yet the mind is quietly preparing for the return of waking awareness. This transition does not pull you toward morning. It simply adjusts the balance within sleep. The brain's rhythms shift gently, spending slightly less time in the deepest stillness and a little more time in lighter rest and dreaming. This change happens without effort, guided by internal clocks that respond to light, hormones, and long-established patterns. You do not feel this preparation as work. There is no sensation of getting ready. The mind does not rehearse the day ahead. Instead, it gradually becomes more responsive, more flexible, while remaining calm and unbothered. Sleep still holds you securely. Dreams during this stage may become more frequent or more vivid, though they remain gentle. Images may carry a bit more detail. Emotions may feel slightly clearer, though still soft. These dreams help bridge the space between deep rest and eventual wakefulness, easing the mind toward awareness without urgency. The body remains relaxed. Muscles stay loose and heavy. Breathing continues its slow, natural rhythm. Even as sleep lightens, the nervous system remains settled. There is no signal to rise or respond. Everything continues at the pace of rest. Inside the brain, activity patterns adjust subtly. Areas responsible for perception and awareness become a little more active, while those supporting deep stillness quiet just enough to allow flexibility. This balance supports smooth transitions, preventing abrupt awakenings. You may experience brief moments of awareness during this stage, though they often pass unnoticed. A faint sense of being here, then drifting again. These moments are not interruptions. They are part of the mind's gentle calibration, ensuring comfort and continuity. Memory processing continues quietly in the background. Experiences from earlier in the night settle further. Emotional balance is refined. The brain completes its work without asking for attention or acknowledgement. The sense of time remains soft, though it may feel slightly more present than before. You might sense that the night is moving forward without knowing how or why. This awareness does not disturb rest. It simply reflects the brain's gradual shift toward readiness. Hormonal signals change slowly now, preparing the body for eventual wakefulness. These signals are subtle and quiet. They do not create alertness yet. They simply lay the groundwork, ensuring that waking later feels natural rather than abrupt. The body's temperature regulation adjusts slightly, maintaining comfort while preparing for activity later. Circulation remains steady. Energy is conserved. Nothing is rushed. You may feel a sense of lightness beneath the calm, as if sleep is becoming less dense. This does not mean rest is ending. It means sleep is adapting, shifting into a form that allows easier awakening when the time comes. Thoughts, if they appear, remain soft and incomplete. There is still little interest in planning or reflection. The mind stays focused on rest, even as it becomes more responsive to internal and external cues. The environment outside remains distant. Sounds are still filtered. Light, if present, does not yet command attention. The brain continues to protect sleep, prioritizing comfort over awareness. As this stage continues, the cycles of sleep remain intact. Deep rest may return briefly, followed by lighter dreaming. The night still moves in waves, though the balance between them is changing gently. There is nothing you need to do to support this process. Even effort to remain asleep would be unnecessary. Sleep continues on its own, adjusting naturally. The sense of self remains minimal. Identity does not return fully yet. You are not thinking about who you are or what awaits you. This absence allows the mind to remain unburdened. As rest lightens gradually, awareness remains flexible. You are close to waking, yet still comfortably distant from it. This in-between state allows the mind to rest while staying ready. The brain's ability to move through this transition smoothly depends on trust in its rhythms. These rhythms have guided countless mornings before. They do not need guidance now. You may notice that dreams begin to carry more continuity, forming longer sequences. This reflects increased coordination between brain regions as waking approaches. Yet the dream space remains safe and unhurried. Even now, healing and restoration continue. The body does not stop repairing simply because sleep lightens. Processes supporting balance remain active until waking. As the later hours unfold, sleep becomes more delicate, yet no less supportive. It holds you gently, preparing to release you when the time is right. There is no signal to wake yet. Morning is still distant. The mind remains free to drift, to dream, to rest. For now, you remain here in this quiet preparation where sleep lightens without ending, and the mind rests calmly on the edge of awareness, waiting patiently for the day to arrive on its own. As rest continues to soften and awareness begins to hover closer to the surface, the sleeping mind prepares gently for its final passage through the night, where rest will slowly give way to waking without urgency or demand. Now, as this journey reaches its quietest place, even observation begins to loosen. The mind no longer needs to follow, notice, or understand what is happening. Rest continues on its own, guided by rhythms that do not require awareness. Sleep does not depend on attention. It does not need encouragement. It remains steady whether it is noticed or not. Throughout the night, the brain has shown that it knows how to rest without instruction. It shifts, slows, repairs, and dreams all on its own. Even now, with awareness fading, these processes continue calmly. There is no point at which sleep asks for supervision. Letting go is not a loss. It is the natural state of rest. As attention releases its grip, the sense of effort dissolves completely. There is no longer a feeling of doing anything at all. Thoughts no longer drift because there is no need for them to move. Silence becomes the dominant experience, not as emptiness, but as ease. The body remains supported by the surface beneath it, held without tension. Muscles stay relaxed. Breathing flows quietly, guided by systems that have worked since the very beginning of life. Each breath arrives and leaves without awareness. The body does not require permission to continue. Inside the brain, activity remains balanced and calm. Regions that once supported thought and imagery are quiet now. Others continue their gentle coordination, maintaining stability and repair. This balance allows sleep to remain deep, even in the absence of dreams or awareness. You may not notice anything happening at all. This is not a problem. In fact, it is a sign that rest has become complete. The absence of experience is part of sleep's design. When nothing is noticed, restoration continues undisturbed. Time no longer exists here. There is no sense of waiting or passing. The mind rests outside sequence and duration. Whether minutes or hours unfold makes no difference. Sleep holds all of it without distinction. The world outside remains distant and unimportant. Sounds, light, and movement are filtered away unless they truly matter. The brain continues to protect rest, choosing stillness over response. This protection allows sleep to remain whole. Even identity has faded. There is no story about who you are, where you are, or what comes next. Without identity, there is no pressure. The mind rests freely, unburdened by definition. If awareness returns briefly, it does so lightly without momentum. It may flicker, then fade again. These moments do not interrupt rest. They pass without consequence. Sleep resumes as if nothing happened. The body continues its quiet maintenance. Cells renew. Systems rebalance. Energy is conserved and restored. None of this creates sensation. Healing happens best when it goes unnoticed. The brain's ability to maintain sleep without attention is one of its most reliable functions. You do not have to trust it consciously. It continues whether you think about it or not. As this state deepens, even the idea of listening fades. Sound becomes texture rather than meaning. Words lose their shape. Awareness drifts farther away, held gently by the same rhythms that carried the night. There is nothing left to follow. No instruction remains. Sleep does not need guidance. It unfolds exactly as it should, shaped by biology, rhythm, and time. You may feel as though you are no longer here at all. This absence is not emptiness. It is rest in its purest form. The mind has stepped aside completely, allowing the body and brain to continue without interference. Nothing requires memory now. Nothing asks to be remembered later. Sleep does not collect experiences. It releases them. As the night holds you, everything continues smoothly. Breathing remains steady. The heart keeps its gentle pace. The nervous system stays calm. All essential functions are cared for automatically. Even if awareness disappears entirely, rest remains intact. Sleep does not end when attention fades. It becomes more complete. There is no finish line here. No moment where sleep must stop or change. It simply continues, one quiet moment flowing into the next. The stillness you feel is not fragile. It does not need protection. It is supported by deep, stable systems that have guided countless nights before this one. If thoughts no longer appear, that is natural. If sensations fade, that is expected. The mind has reached a place where nothing is required. You are not missing anything. Rest does not depend on participation. It does not reward effort. It exists whether noticed or not. The night continues its gentle movement, even as awareness rests far from it. The mind and body remain aligned in their purpose, resting together without instruction. And now, as everything softens fully, there is no need to remain present for what comes next. Sleep carries itself forward, steady and kind, allowing you to remain at rest without attention, without effort, without need. As this journey gently comes to a close, notice how wide and still the world feels. So many lives unfolding quietly, whether we see them or not. You don't need to keep their names or stories. They've already done their work. If you enjoy these slow explorations, you can support the channel in any small way that feels natural, so others can find this calm too. But right now, there is nothing to decide and nowhere to go. Let your thoughts soften, your muscles relax, and the night carry you onward, one peaceful breath at a time.